Hi, all. Before starting today class, right? We'll go through the what we have done in the first class. Okay. The class one, what we understand what is SQL, what is database, and the types of databases, along with the what is DBMS and what kind of software it will provide, and why learn SQL. Okay, what is the importance of SQL, along with the why we need to choose the SQL server. We have many SQLs, right? SQL softwares. Why we have choose the SQL server, that and all we got to know. Along with how to install a SQL server on Windows, that part also completed. Now what we do in the class 2, okay? Already we have created a setup. That's mean database is ready in our system. Okay. Now what we need to do, we have to store some data and we have to do some operation on the data. Okay. Whatever data we are storing, we need to do some operations. Now we'll see how to store and how to do operations. Okay. Before that, we have to know what kind of data we can store in the SQL server. Okay. As I told, SQL is a relational database. Relational database mean what? Okay, where we can store the data in tables. Okay, tables mean usually table data store in a rows and columns. But example, let me show you. But example, if you see Excel, right? Excel we have a rows and columns. But here rows mean 1, 2, 3, these and all rows. But columns mean ID, name, fees, okay, joining date, this and all the columns. Like this, we have to store a data in the relational database. Okay. For that, we have to create a table. Okay. If you create a table on the database on SQL server, then only we can store our data into the table. Okay. Before creating the table, what is the advantage of table? Why we need to create table? Let me explain. Okay. Okay. Tables organize data into rows and columns. That already I showed you. Okay. Already you know how the data store in the rows and columns. What is the advantage of storing like that mean? Making it easy to read, manage, and query. But example, if you want to fetch the required data, but example, if you store the millions of rows, right? If you want to fetch the required data, we can get it easily. Along with managing mean millions of data we can manage me. But example, creation, updation, deletion, filter, sort, many operations we can do very easily by using query. Query mean nothing but I will show you. Okay. Yesterday we write on some query, right, to fetch the version of the DB. Like that, we have many queries we can write. Okay. Next, what is the use of table mean? We can easily filter. But example, if you want to filter a data based on the requirement, we can do along the sorting. Sorting mean ascending order, descending order. These kind of operations also you can do. Okay. Modify, update, okay, delete data as your requirement. Along with we can store the large amount of data, making it easy to scale and manage. But example, very bulk data if you want to store and you want to make it scale. Scale mean moving forward, if we add the bulk data also, it has to support. Okay, that kind of operations and all we can make it easy by using a tables. Okay, that is the advantage of the table. Now we'll see how to create a table. Okay, then how to add a data and how to update and how to delete. Okay. Okay, here we have some table operations. Okay, first operation is create table. Okay, query mean whatever here I wrote, right? This and that query we can we call it as a query in a SQL. Okay. Now if you want to write this query, first we have to open a SQL. Okay, how to open? Click on the Windows button, then type SQL. Already we have installed, right? Last class SQL Server Management Studio. Just a single click on it. It is opening the SQL Server. Okay. Okay, once it is open, right, you will see this window. Okay, you don't do any changes, just you click on the connect. Okay, just to do connect. Okay, now it is connected. Okay, now if you want to write any query, okay, just to click on the new query, there is a one tab is there, right? Just to do single click on this. Okay, this is the window available. You can write the query here. Okay. Now if you see here, right, there is one drop down, master is there, right? What does this mean? This is the database. You have many databases. Now we are using the master database. Now I am going to create one table under master database. Okay. This database concepts we will see later. Okay. Just I am telling what is this and all. Just okay. Now let me create a one table. What is our requirement mean? Let me show my requirement. Okay. I want to create a one table with MSc technologies. MSc technologies, and I want to create a 4 columns. First column is ID, name, fees, along with the joining date. Okay. Now let me create a table. How to create? Okay. Just we have to write a query like this. Create table. Then we have to give the table name MSc technologies. Then open a single bracket. Okay, this is called parenthesis. Then we have to give that column. First column is what? Let me show you ID. Okay. For example, ID. Okay. Then we have to declare the data type. For example, ID is a one column. What kind of data you want to store, you have to define. For example, ID mean it is an integer. Then we have to give a int data type. Okay, we have to specify what kind of data you want to store in this ID column. For that, what we need to do, ID is a column, then space data type. Then we have to go column. Okay. Next, if you want to create one more column, right? After ID, what is next is a name. I want to create a name. Okay. Coming to name it is a varchar we have to use. Why varchar mean? Varchar finding the answer. Okay. Varchar mean which can store the any character. Any character mean I will show you. Okay. Any character mean alphabets, numbers, special characters. If I am given the 100 mean it can store the 100 characters. For int you no need to define how many characters it has to store. Okay. By default it can able to manage. But varchar we have to define. Okay. What is the next? Next is the fees. Fees also I want to store in a decimal format. Here you no need to define anything. Next is a joining date. Okay. Joining date we can do there is a one data type date type. Date type means it can able to store the date and time. Now close the parenthesis. Okay. Now this is the query to create a table. What is the query? Let me explain. Create table. Table name. You can give any table in form of small letters or capital letter. Anything is fine. Then we have to open the parenthesis. Open parenthesis. Then we have to define a column name. What is the column name? I want to create a column name as a ID as an integer along with the name, varchar, and fees, decimal, and joining date as a date type. Decimal means floating value as well we can store. Okay. Otherwise, let me do like this. Student name, student ID. Okay, now it is fine. Okay. Now, if you want to run this query, what you need to do? There is a execute button is there right here. Just to do execute. Okay. Now you can see command completed successfully. For it is coming like this means it is the query, whatever query we ran, right? It is it is executed successfully. Okay. Now, if you want to see the table, what is the table structure and how it is under, right? What is the query we need to write? Select start from table MSc technologies. Then we have to give a semicolon. Here also I forgot, you can define the semicolon. Okay. Select start from empty. Okay. This is the query to get the table details. Okay. Now, if I click on this execute button, right, what happen? It will execute the complete query, first query and second query. Create table along with this. Okay. If I run again this query, it will throw error because already table is created. If I run again, what happened? It will throw error. Okay. Now I want to run only this query. If you want to run the particular query, right, what is the approach here? Mean you can select this query, then click on the execute. Then what happened? Whatever query you selected, it will run the only selected query. Now let me click on the execute. Now you can see this is the table. Because we have created a table to store some data, but still we have not added any data. Okay, just we created, you can see the columns only. Okay, student ID, student name, fees, and joining date. Okay, now we have created a table. What is the next approach? We have to add the data into table. Okay, now we need to add a data into table. Before adding the data into table, let me explain you these data types: integer, VARCHAR. Okay, what are all the very basic and important data types available in SQL? We'll see one by one. Okay, we'll understand. Okay, in the class 2, we have started SQL is completed. Okay, now we'll see the SQL data types. First one is the integer. First one is the integer data type. What is the use of this? Mean use it to store numbers. Example, you can store a single digit number, okay, double digit, 3 digits, and a negative integer values also we can store. What is the use case of this? Okay, to store numbers without decimals. Okay, if you give the int as a data type, okay, it will accept the only integer data types. It doesn't allow the float value, decimal value. So decimal values mean below you can see it will come like this 3.14, 100.99. These and all decimal values are float values. Okay. In integer, you cannot able to store that values, float values. Okay. Let me explain one more time. Use case to store number without decimals. But example is age never come into decimal, right? Roll number, this and all we can store. And what is the value range? That means what is the minimum and the maximum values we can store? Mean this is the minimum value, negative value minus this is the positive. That means you can store a n number of any number. It is a bulk range. Okay, that is the integer. Next we will see the float. What is the float? Mean it is a decimal. Okay, it is also like number only, but it's allow the floating the dot values to learn. Okay, use it to store numbers only with decimals. Integer mean without decimals. That's all. Okay. But example numbers mean 3.14, 100.99. Even the negative decimal values also you can able to store. Now let me explain the use case. Okay. Use case mean to store floating point numbers. But example price is there, right? Any price it may contain the float value along the temperature. Okay. These values may contain a float, right? If you want to store that kind of values in your database, we have to use a decimal data type, or we can call it as a float also. Okay. Value range. Value range means from -1 to 7.9 exponent on 308 along with the close to negative infinity. That's mean infinity mean there is no limit. N number of values we can store. Okay. Two values also same. Close to positive infinity. Infinity mean n number of values you can store. You can ignore it. Okay. Just I'm telling. Okay. What is the range? Whatever value you want, you can store. Next, we have a char data type. Okay. Char mean use it to store letters. What is the purpose of char data type? Mean use it to store letters mean capital A to Z, small a to Z, and numbers also we can store 0 to 9 anything, along with the symbols and white space. If you want to store any one of these values or all the values, we have to use a char. Char means any character it will store, but it store in a string format. String format mean what is the difference between integer and string mean? Integer mean we can do the number related operations like additional operation, concatenation, along with the mathematical operations and all we can do. But string mean we cannot do that kind of mathematical addition operation and all. Okay. The character what it's do, it store any value number along with the alphabets and special characters, white space also in form of a string. Okay. Char is a fixed length character data type. I will explain what is a fixed length data type. Okay. Always uses exactly n characters, even if the value is short. What is the meaning of this? Let me explain. Okay. But example, I have created char data type with the 6 I given. What is the meaning of 6 mean? It will allow to store the 6 characters. Okay. Let me enable. Okay. Now you see, I have created a char data type with 6 characters. That means the if I create any column with char data type, okay, the range is 6 mean it can allow the 6 characters maximum. Okay, but I am storing the only 2 characters. Hi. Even if you give the 2 characters, what happened? It will consume the 6 character space. You can see here. After high, what happened? It will store as a space. Okay. That is it will waste the memory. But example, if you give 6 range, right? Then even if you give 1 character or 2 characters, it will occupy the 6 character space. Okay. If you don't give, right, remaining characters, it will occupy with space. This is not a dot. You can consider as a space. Okay. What is the use case? Okay. If it is wasting the space, right? This under space only. Okay. Where we are going to use me? What is the use case of this char mean? When all values are same length. But example, country codes, gender. Gender mean female or male, F or M we use, right? Along the yes or no flags, along with the mobile number, okay, Aadhaar number. These are all constant values. Okay. If you want to store the constant values, right? Then we can go for a character data type. Okay. If you know, okay, this column only contains 6 characters, only all the values. Then you can go. Okay. What is the maximum size you can store me? 1 to 8,000. Okay. If you give 0 also, what happened? It stored the empty space also like that. Okay. That's why minimum 1, maximum 8,000 characters also we can store in a char data type. Okay. But what is the disadvantage? If you define any number, that's mean, for example, I want to store 100 characters. Even if you store 1 character, remaining 99 also, it will occupy. That is the drawback. Okay. Now, we'll see the next one, VARCHAR. There is one more data type. Usually we prefer VARCHAR. What is the advantage of VARCHAR? Mean it is similar to character data type, char data type. Okay. It is also used to store the letters A to Z, small and capital, numbers, symbols, space. Everything is same. Okay. But what is the difference? Char and VARCHAR. Let me explain. Okay. Okay. VARCHAR means it store only the number of characters you provide without adding extra space. But example, same example. Here I given a character 6. Here also I am giving a varchar 6. Okay, value is a, I am storing a I. Okay, only 2 characters I am storing here. Then what happened? Okay, here it will occupy the only two character space only. That's mean in the memory, it will require to store only two character space. Even if you give six, what happen? It will take the, if you give the two characters, it will occupy the two characters space only. Remaining, it will be free only. But coming to char, it will occupy the, all the space, whatever you do. Okay. Okay. What is the use case of varchar? We'll see now. When all values length is not same. But example name. Okay, name is depending on the person, right? One person name contains three characters, one person name contains six characters, 10 characters. We don't know. Along the emails, city, state, address. If you don't know the exactly how many characters he is going to provide, then we prefer a varchar. Okay. Char mean if you know the exactly all the values length will be same, then only we go for a character. Okay. The advantage of the character mean compared to varchar, char data type performance wise it is fast because the memory length will memory is fixed memory. Okay. That's why if you know the exact characters, you can go char, otherwise go varchar. Next data type is a date. Next is a date. What is the use of date mean? Use it to store date values. But example, a joining date is there. Okay. Along with the purchase date is there. Birthdays is there, right? If you want to store that kind of date values, we have to use a date data type. Okay. Okay. Use case. Without time information mean if you go for a date mine, okay, only date, month, year, this data only to store. A time under we cannot see here. Okay. Use case use to store data values. Sorry, date values. Example, birthdays, date, date of join, purchase dates like this. Okay, maximum size mean 1 to okay 9,999 years. That range it will support. Okay. And coming to next is a date type. Okay. Date and date time. What is the difference mean? Here only date. Date mean only year, month, date. Date time mean time also we can store. That's mean hours, minutes, and seconds also. You can see the example. Okay. Okay, date mean it is like this. This is the, we can store the year, date, along with the month, along with the time also you can store by using a date time. Use case. What is the use case when we go for this mean? When you need to store both date and time. But example, store working hours, okay, track event times. Sometimes you want to track the times also, okay. That time we can go for a date time data type, okay. Hope you are clear about all these data types. These are all very basic only. Yeah, as of now, this is fine. Just to go through it once, okay. You should know, okay. While creating the table, this data types is mandatory. Now this already we completed. Coming to table operations, create table query, create table, table name, then open parenthesis. We can give the name of the column along with the what data you are going to store, right? Based on that, we have to define a data type. For integer, you don't need to specify the characters, how many you want to store. For name, you can specify. For varchar, you have to specify the how many characters you want to store. Okay. If you want to sorry, fees. Okay. If you want to store it float values, we have to use the decimal. Okay. Float value means we have to use a decimal. Let me change. It's fine. I corrected it. Okay. Okay. After creating the table, right? If you want to see the table data, what is the approach? Select space. This dot you can consider as a space. Okay. Otherwise, let me remove this. Select space, star space from space. Then we have to use the table name. Then this symbol we have to semicolon. Okay. Till this we have completed. Now what is the next approach? We have to insert the data into table. Okay, now table is ready. Now we have to insert the data, whatever we require. Okay. Now let me start. Query, come to this one. Okay. Just enter. You can use capital letters or small letter, anything is fine. Okay. Insert into table name, MSC technologies. Then open parenthesis, close. Inside this parenthesis, we have to define the column names. What are the columns available in this table? Okay. Student type. The sequence you should not change. Okay. Student ID, student name. Okay. Next is a fields. Next is a joining date. Okay, this is the query we have to write. Then we have to give the values, or if you want, you can write in the next line also no issue. Values. You can use the same line or next line also, that is fine. Student ID, I am giving the 1. Because here we define the 4 columns, right? Then we have to give the 4 value sequence. Okay. ID. The student name is Balu. It should be in a single quotes, okay? Any string, it should be in a single quotes. Okay. Next is fees, right? Let me give that in the decimal format. Next is joining date, right? Joining date will define. Let me see the format, okay? 04. That is a month. 14th is the date also we have to give in a single format. Okay. Then we have to give the semicolon. Okay, let me explain one more time this query. Insert into, okay, by reading only we'll get to know into this table. Okay, then we have to define the columns. What are all the columns available in that table? The student ID is there, student name, fees, joining date. Then we have to close the parentheses. After closing values, that means we are providing the values for that columns. One is the first column value. This is second column value, third column, fourth. Okay. Now, if you want to run only this query, if you directly click on execute, what happened, right? It will run all the queries what are available in this uh, page. Okay. If you want to run only this one, we have to select and run. Okay. Now you can see one row affected. That means it is created successfully. Now I want to see that row, whether how it is created in the table. Okay. Then what is your approach? This query you need to run. If you want to run only this query, what you need to do? You have to select that query and click on the execute. Now you can see the data here. Student ID is the 1. Student name is Balu. Fees is the 34Y, 345. Why it is not stored in the decimal? Check. That let me check just a minute. Okay, now you can see the fees is stored in a decimal format. That means floating value. Okay, what was the issue mean? While defining this decimal data type, right? We forgot to specify the length. Okay, but example 10 mean till 10 characters it will start before dot. 2 mean after dot, two characters it will a display. Okay, it will store like that. Okay, hope now you understand this one. Okay. Now, okay. Now it is empty, right? Let me create from starting. Okay. Now I created a one row. Okay. Now you can see the decimal value also. Okay. Now I want to create a one more row. Now I have created one more, just one row, right? Now I'm going to create a one more row. Okay. Now let me explain one more time this query, insert query. It is very simple. Insert into table name we have to give. Then we have to specify all the columns. What are the columns available in that table? The sequence also you should not miss. Then values. Then sequence. You have to pass the values sequentially. Okay. Now next we'll see. Again, if you want to insert some more values, right? How to do? Balu, right? Now let me want to insert just to change the values. Okay, student ID is 2. This is the name is Ramu. Fees, let me use some other value. Date up to you. You can change whatever it is. Okay, now select this. Just do execute. Okay, one row affected me. It is created one row. Now let me show the data in a table. Select star from table name. Now you can see I have created a two rows. One is a Balu, other one is a for Ram. Okay. Sometimes if you want to store only the two columns data, joining date you don't have to insert, right? Then you can do like this. Okay. Here if you can give the only three columns, then we have to provide the data for the three columns. Okay, row number 3, name is Ramesh. Okay, let me do 10,000. Okay. Now what I'm doing here, right? I'm inserting the values for only three columns: student ID, student name, fees. Joining date, I'm not going to insert. Okay, you can see here. This is also possible. You can do. Okay. Now let me print it. Okay. Now if you don't pass any value to the column, right? What happened? It will by default it will take a null value. Okay, null means nothing. Okay. This is the one way of inserting a values into table. Okay. And the next approach. Okay. Next approach means without specifying the column names also. Okay, I'm not giving any columns. Okay, just insert into table name values. Then we have to define the all the columns values. This is also one way of inserting a values into table. You can see one row is affected. Now let me export it. Now you can see here also I inserted. Sorry, I forgot to give the change the name, right? Let me change the row. This is the fourth row. Okay. Money. Now fourth row I'm going to create. It's now it is created. You can see fourth row money is done. Okay. Without giving the column names also, we can able to insert the values into table. But we have to give the values for all the columns. But example, I'm missing the joining date. Okay. Now we will can see column name or number of supplied values does not match. Okay. If you want to insert only specified columns, right? Then we have to specify columns like this. If you want to insert for all the columns, right? Then you can ignore the defining the columns. Okay. This also I am giving here. You can see. This is the one way of inserting a value. Okay. This is how we can able to insert the values into table after creating. Okay. Now next is updating the values in a table. Okay. But example, we have some values. I want to change the name. Okay. But example, let me print the table data. But example here, student name is Balu, right? This Balu name I want to change. Okay. Wherever Balu is there, I want to change into some other name. But then what is approach me? You can see this is the query. Okay. Very simple update table name. Okay. Then we have to just set. There is a one class set student name equals to I want to make it a triple R. Okay. Then we have to specify where you want to change the student name triple R mean where student name equals to R. Okay. Let me explain one more time this query. If you want to update any value, but example, student name Balu, I want to change it to triple R. That is my requirement. Okay, in a table, there is a student name column. In that column, wherever Balu name is there, right? There I want to change a name to triple R. Then what is your approach mean? You can see update table name. Okay, this is complete query. You can write in single query also, like this also no issue. Okay, update table name set. Set means we are telling you student name, wherever student name has a triple R. Set a student name as a triple R, where student name is Balu. Now let me execute and show you. One row affected. That means the change happened. Okay. Now if you want to see whether the change happened or not, just do select code. From the select code, you can see in the first two. Okay, student ID first one, you can see first row, there is no name Balu. It is changed to triple R. Okay, like this, what you can do, you can do the changes wherever you require. Okay, but whenever you are going to do any changes like this, you should not forget this where condition. Okay, if you forget what happened, right, it will change all the names. But example, student name is there, right? We have different student name. All the students name it will change into triple R. That's why be careful when you are going to use the update. Okay. Okay, that's why we should be careful while using the update. You should not forget the where condition. Okay, like this, if you want to change the many multiple values, right? What is the approach? Let me tell you. For example, at a time I want to change the complete row. But example, wherever set student name is a Kumar, where student name is a but I don't want to change only name. I want to change the ID also. Then what is your approach? Student ID equals to triple two. Okay, then comma. Then you want to change fees also, right? Fees equals to 789.777. Okay. Now what is the approach? Earlier what we have done, we have done the only change for single column value. Now we are changing the three column values. Okay. This is the query. You have to write like this. Multiple columns you have to specify like this. Then we have to give the condition. Then what happened? Wherever Ramu is there, right? The name will change to Kumar. The ID will change to triple two. The fees will change to 789.777. Now let me run this query. This is not required, I think. That's very easy. Okay. Now let me run. Okay, see one row affected. Now let me print this one. You can see second row you can observe the name changed to Kumar, fees also changed, along with the ID also it got changed. Okay, this is how we can do the update on existing data. Next, last one is the deletion operation. Okay, how to delete. For example, I want to remove this triple R row, complete triple R row. Then what is your approach? Delete from table name. Next, yes. Then we have to do the condition where student name equals to triple R and semicolon. Okay. Now I'm going to delete the complete row. I want to delete this row. Then what is the approach? Delete from table where. You should not forget this where condition. Okay. Where student name equals to triple R. That row only I want to delete. Now you can see. Now it is executed successfully. Let me run the select query. Now you can see there is no triple R row. The row got deleted. Okay. But here you always remember, if you don't use this where condition, for example here, right? What happened? It will remove the complete table data. It will remove the complete table data. Only you can see the table structure. That's why while doing the delete operation also, you should be very clear or careful. Okay. Based on the condition, if you delete only the matching condition related rows only will delete. Okay. If you don't give this, it will delete the complete table. Okay. But table will be there, table structure, the data it will remove. Okay. Okay. That's all about today class. Just you need to practice these things and all. Okay. First, what you need to do? First, you have to understand these data types. Okay. Then create a table. Then fetch the data from a table, how to fetch. Then you will see how to insert the data into the table. Then updating, then deletion. Okay. Next class, we will discuss about some other operation regarding this table. Okay. Okay. Then that's all about today class. Okay. We'll meet in the next class. Okay. We'll see you in the class 3. Bye.